We are really, for real, learning that in big, bold letters, the women's basketball boom is real. We're getting some new record-breaking numbers from ESPN with the women's college basketball tournament ending with just like gangbusters ratings. 19 million people just about.
It's 10 years ago that I was drafted #1, and I'm not gonna lie, I blacked out when I heard my name called. Neck and slapped my back. Everyone would say, oh, that girl that is, the WNBA player that talks. Then it shifted to, oh, that player from the Sparks that talks. Then it said, Chiney. Now when I go places, people say Chiney Ogwumike. And it's been beautiful the last few years. It feels like winning hearts and minds, even though we should have a level playing field from the jump. It's been a cool process to see.
Hello, and welcome to Washington Post Live. I'm Sally Jenkins, a sports columnist here at the Post. And joining me now for the latest in our series, Leveling the Playing Field, is two-time WNBA All-Star and ESPN analyst and host, Chiney Ogwumike. Chiney, welcome to Washington Post Live.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, let's get started. I can't wait to ask you these questions, and I want to start with the state of women's basketball today. As the intro video showed, this past NCAA tournament, it drew 19 million average viewers. It had the highest average viewership of any televised basketball game in the last 5 years. And on top of that, the recent WNBA draft averaged an unbelievable 2.4 million viewers. That's a 307% increase in viewership over the last year. I want to talk to you a little bit about what are the key drivers behind this growth, particularly this increase, this explosion in viewership. What are the factors in your mind that has really brought this about?
First of all, it's always great to talk to one of my friends, a fellow Stanford alum, and also just one of the GOATs in the game. So I'm glad to be here and also be here on Washington Post Live. The women's game has truly exploded, has truly exploded. And I think the big reasons why are that, one, athletes are being themselves unapologetically and also have the platforms to do that without having to fall into systems of hopefully they broadcast my games or hopefully people can follow what I do or what I care about. The game is more so than ever before in the players' hands. From their decisions on what school they want to go to, we are currently in an era of the transfer portal where players in some ways are bigger than their programs because they're getting recruited to be the stars of the program. For a long time, women's college basketball, it was the greats, right? Gino Auriemma, Pat Summitt, Tara Vanderveer, Kim Mulkey, their names dominated the landscape along with like these stars in the sky that are almost like comets that you're like, okay, it's great for a moment, but you get the mainstay of the coaches and the programs, the dominance of Tennessee, UConn, Stanford, Notre Dame. That has changed. Now the power goes to the player in their decisions. And also that power is, I guess the second aspect is enhanced through social media. It's enhanced through now this era of NIL that allows brands to also invest in the storytelling of the players. And then last but not least, I always say this, we're not new to this, we are true to this. The women's game has always been it. It's always been lit. It's always been a place where you can get a true appreciation for the craft that we have, the skills. Like nothing gets glossed over by, crazy fast plays or all these exclamation points that we see on highlights for the last few years, particularly when it comes to the men's game. Instead, there's just this, you watch the highest level of scouting reports. You watch the highest level of just learned skill and an adaptation. And now you're seeing it all come to fruition where people get the storylines because as women, we go pro after you're 3 years removed from high school. So you have the ability to follow a player over the course of their young adulthood, and then they go to the pros, and now we're seeing the crossover of attention and demand and engagement. And so I think there's a confluence of things that have really built to this moment. It is literally a perfect storm, from the players being themselves unapologetically to the brands, NIL, investment, the transfer portal, just shifting the paradigm of power to the player. But more importantly, I think people see the reason why women's basketball is thriving is because people now see it's a place where you truly have room to grow. Your investment can be exponential. And, having a front row seat to this at ESPN, I say we're not new to this, we're true to this. The investment started years before to be ready for the moment where it does explode. And I'm grateful to be a part of a company that understood that and is now doing better to enhance it moving forward as well.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this 3 to 4 year window that women have in college to build their brands, especially with NIL now. I feel like one of the things that happened with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and Caitlin's Sanity, as it's been called, is the audience had time to get to know them and for them to build their stories in the public mind, which men's collegiate basketball is not doing. And I wonder if you think that's harming the men's audience while it's building the women's audience.
Well, that's the thing. On the men's side, they are fortunate. They have the luxury of being able to do whatever they want, meaning you can come into school and you can leave after a year and go pro, and you don't necessarily need your story to be told for you to get generational wealth, right? But this is why I always say, and like, no respect, no shade. I don't want people to take this out of context. But when it comes to brands and storytelling, women do it better because we have no choice but to invest all of our blood, sweat, and tears into everything that we do. And you talked about Clark Sanity, or is it Caitlin Sanity? Like whatever the insanity is,
Caitlin's Sanity,
right?
I think that's the term these days, right? Yeah.
One thing I love is that Debbie Antonelli, I believe she's the one who called it Clarkonomics, like Clark economics, right?
Yeah.
What she has shown, and I think it's also like this idea, a lot of people talk when it comes to economy and economics about trickle down. What Caitlin has shown is a trickle up. Her success has lifted the tides. The rising tide lifts all boats. And so now you're starting to see more investment wholesale over the women's game, whether it is just companies investing to help broadcast more. I mean, we saw what Big Ten Network and Fox did, particularly when it came to her games. Now you're falling in love with other players because of that investment. To me, that's the beautiful thing. And so when I look at the women's game and I say that women do it better, it's because we understand we can't fall back on this idea that the salaries will be there, even though we're the best athletes in the world. We are the best ambassadors. We are the best endorsers because we understand that typically those endorsements, I mean, you've seen Caitlin's Nike deal, much different than her WNBA salary, right? And that's why we become great and engaged partners, not just for the short term, but for the long term. And I think that's why brands align with us in a way that really benefits us. The men don't have to do that because they can fall back on their salaries as pros. But as women, I think it's been a beautiful, I guess you can say, blessing in disguise. A disappointment in one regard can be a blessing in disguise because now brands activate us and realize that women are great endorsers.
Right, because pure skill for a woman is still not enough, right? And let's stick to a pure basketball question just for one moment, because I've been arguing that Caitlin Clark is such an out of category skilled player. And I want to know what you think of this, because I've been looking statistically. I don't find anyone, if you chart her, who has the marriage of shooting skill, passing skill, and then you throw in her rebounds as well. To find a player statistically who's that strong in 3 different areas, I had to go back to Oscar Robertson, okay? Oscar Robertson. So Caitlin Clark's career averages 28.4 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. Oscar Robertson, 33 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists in his final 2 seasons. Does it make guys crazy when we make these comparisons? The men that you work with at ESPN.
No, not at all. And I think that's the thing. It's the most frustrating thing because real recognize real, game recognize game. oftentimes there's so many preconceived notions on social media or even just talking points amongst people that have not received their education, received their tutelage yet. You know, there are so many preconceived notions about the women's game that are just out of date, that are just blatantly wrong in some ways, that are just holding the game back without realizing that you're missing out on some amazing moments. Now, that moment has passed because I think now people are questioning why they thought those things because they want to see the women's game win right now. But yeah, I've never had, that's the funny thing. If you're a women's basketball player, you understand that your colleagues, the people that, you know what they say, iron sharpens iron. We practice against men every day as pros. Even in college ranks, we practice against guys and those people become your friends. Me as a pro, knowing a lot of the NBA players, they're the first ones that are saying, yo, I love that move. Like, I'm going to take that. You know, there's a symbiotic nature, a relationship that we have amongst each other. And then even on air, like the first call I'll get after working March Madness and everyone was so excited about it was Kendrick Perkins saying, yo, these women are balling. Sis, I'm so happy to see you on that platform. I think there is a public disconnect because there has been, it's just easy to take the bait and find something to make a joke about when it comes to women's sports because the comparables are just so stark, right? Like, oh, look at this dunk here, or look at this amazing play. And then look at, you can take a missed layup from the women's basketball and then just remove, take that out of context and make yourself feel better about that. Gone are those days. Now people know what it really is. And I think it's really beautiful. And I think it's been fun to see over the course of the last few months how many allies we have saying like, I prefer to watch the women's game because there's storylines, there's beefs, there's rivalries, and the women take every possession seriously.
Yeah, you were a #1 pick in the WNBA draft in 2014.
10 years ago.
Got rookie. Well, you got Rookie of the Year. You went on to become a 2-time WNBA All-Star with the Connecticut Sun. So let me ask you this: from a player's perspective, how have you seen the arc of performance evolve in the past decade? How much better is the talent getting?
So I'm going to give you 2 examples. One, I always tell people this, and I hope it sort of colors their mind. When I grew up in the suburbs, and everything that when I would go to school, everyone would want to wear the same Abercrombie jeans and the same Hollister top. Now I was northwest part of Houston, Texas, so that says a lot about me, right? But everyone wanted to just fit in, and everyone wanted to be a part of the same crowd, right? Gone are those days. This generation grew up wanting to be different, having their own hair, having their own looks. And that brought out an intrinsic amount of confidence in them. And now we're starting to see how Gen Z is flourishing from that irrational confidence that truly benefits a new generation of athletes. And I'm not saying that we weren't confident in the times that we grew up, but the second part of this is when I grew up, the way I learned the game was I had to go to practice 3 times a week and rely on the knowledge of my coaches in AAU and in high school. In AAU, all my coaches were men. In high school, I had a badass, sorry if I don't know if that's allowed to be said, if you had to burp it, female coach. Her name is Coach Ann Rubique, who's a legend in the game in Texas, won 2 state championships with her. And I really was able to see that fierce competitiveness from my coach as a woman, but then also my teammates. That was just contagious. And so to have those 2 perspectives, like that's how I learned the game. A lot of the women that are veterans in the WNBA just were able to become fans because the WNBA before that did not exist. It started in 1997. And so even I think Diana Taurasi, people are talking about how Diana, who's the all-time leading scorer in the WNBA, grew up watching the NBA. This is the first generation right now that grew up watching both. Caitlin Clark can say that her favorite player is Maya Moore, and also favorite person to probably model her game off in the NBA is Steph Curry. And that bred a beast, a unique beast. They also learn their skills from YouTube. They can watch a game. They can go see a highlight. They can see something on social media, take that video, or on TikTok, right? Based on the state of TikTok, we'll see how long they can keep doing that. But take that video, go in their backyard, put it on loop, and just master a skill. It took multiple people, multiple barriers of entry for us, me being born in 1992, for me to learn the game. Now it's, at their fingertips. And to me, I think that's why we're seeing the most skilled generation of our time. That's why we're seeing players like Caitlin Clark and Juju Watkins, who truly can just, these are pros when they enter college. So to me, it's a beautiful thing to see that the game is so healthy where the barriers of entry that made things a little bit more difficult for me and so much more difficult for the generations before me are gone. And now it's breeding a class and an era of women's basketball that is truly dominant, not just dominant in a silo of women's hoops, but dominant in the ecosystem of sports general overall.
Yeah. Steph Curry has a direct relationship with Cameron Brink, the great player coming out of Stanford, who's entering the WNBA. I feel like there's more male-female alliances as well. There's an element of NBA support for the WNBA that was not always there, both from ownership to the commissioner's office, but then also down to the player level, the player-to-player level. I want to, speaking of brother-sister relationships, you have an all-time great sister, Nneka. You were both teammates together with the Sparks. And she just announced she signed a one-year deal with the Seattle Storm. Talk to me about working through the sport and rising through the sport together, and your experiences at Stanford and then into the pros. You guys have followed a pretty parallel track there, haven't you?
Yeah, everyone thinks we're twins, and I think we do too at this point because we're just so close. And I'm just, one thing I love about my big sister Nneka, and I have two younger sisters as well. It just reminds me that everything that we do in life, particularly as women, for so long we've been told that there's only one seat at the table, right? That we have to be the one and only, and sometimes it doesn't bring out the best in us. But one thing I've learned through my sisterhood, and I think the number one thing is just we don't always have to be competitive. Instead, you can get even further by being collaborative. I have a big sister that taught me not just anything you can do, I can do better. It's like anything you can do, I can do too. And it's been amazing. And she's been giving me the cheat sheet at life. And I think it's not been easier for her. We always joke that she's the guinea pig. She's the first one. She was the first one to be in that basketball practice that we went to together, and she stuck through it. I went to the back, this is when I was 10, hid in the bathroom. And she, because I was like, anything I do, I want to be great at. That's why I don't play video games. That's why I don't bowl to this day, because I want to master it before I try it. Nneka was just naturally curious. And not only curious, she brought us, her little sisters, along. And so to see her just grow and then every night go home in our driveway and teach me everything that she learned, she wanted us to all be great. And that just brought out the best in each and every one of us. And so that was our journey through basketball. That was our journey in high school. Then we get to Stanford, where it was hard, at the highest levels, being told to be great in school and also on the court. But we were led again by, sorry if I get y'all into trouble, another badass woman in Tara Vanderveer, who just retired. And she retired as the all-time winningest coach, men's or women's, in collegiate history. And we learned so many great lessons from her, particularly that you have to show up each and every day as yourself, which Coach Tara has done if you know her. And then also preparation is the greatest indicator of success. And so going through Stanford, being prepared, learning how to do your homework on and off the court, seeing my sister flourish, seeing her get drafted #1, and then after getting drafted #1, that motivating me to do the same. And then on my draft night to be able to turn to her, hear my name called, knowing that we, two little girls, that are joined at the hip ever since I was born, that never knew sports would provide this tremendous platform, has transformed our life. And it doesn't stop there. She continues to achieve. I mean, my sister is a WNBA MVP, an All-Star, and I'm so proud of what she's doing in Seattle. And now she is, everyone knows, she's done a great job leading the WNBA's Players Association. And she's going to have her hands full again because we have some numbers that truly work to our advantage. And then me, I'm broadcasting. And so to have someone that sees greatness in you and wants to not compete with you, but elevate you, that has just really affected how I approach everything in life. And so, yeah, everyone go buy a Storm jersey. #3, please. Okay.
That element of collaboration that you talk about, I feel like so much of what I've written about women's sports has an element of trying to explain to people that in the middle of competition, women are doing this really interesting thing. There's alliance even in the heat of competition. Caitlin Clark, and that's generational as well. Caitlin Clark went out of her way to elevate memories of Lynette Woodard, Pearl Moore, Cheryl Miller, and so many others. It wasn't that she set the all-time scoring record that was most important to her. It was her ability to do that while also explaining to people what shoulders she was standing on. Can you talk to me a little bit about this relationship between past and present players and the exchanges that you guys have in trying to be allies as well as competitors?
Wow, beautiful question. And just to put a bow on the end of that, not only you see the moments where it comes full circle, where Caitlin, as you mentioned, talks about and celebrates Lynette Woodard, Cheryl Miller, and those who have come before her. I mean, literally before she became the all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball, she was like screeching because she saw Maya Moore. Like, you can just tell that the game, it's all about passing the baton. It's all about playing for the legacy so that the next generation can be inspired by what you did to move the game forward. But I think the perfect bow on it was after South Carolina won, Dawn Staley celebrating Caitlin Clark, because we would not have had those numbers that you started off this conversation with without Caitlin and Dawn and South Carolina and Angel Reese and LSU. In some ways, Coach Mulkey too, stirring the pot. But like, it's just cool because we understand what's at stake for women's basketball. I don't know if people fully understand how every moment that we needed to care about the game to keep moving it forward, particularly in this women's college season, we got an instant classic. It was wild. And that's because these players knew exactly what was at stake, that the eyes of the world were watching, and they're watching to show people respect our game. That's the way that Caitlin approaches her craft. That's the way that Dawn Staley approaches her craft. So I think the past and present, we draw inspiration from one another. And we understand that because we're not at the point where we can just fall back on what salary or life or just status and what that naturally brings, I think that brings out the best in us. That brings out a moment that we have been waiting for in our game to really explode. And I'll lastly say this, if you look at the timelines in which the NBA exploded, it was after Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. This is arguable, right? But still, there was an inflection point where Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, their college rivalry, transferred over to the pros, where they became the most dominant players at the time. And that moved the NBA from tape delay to must-see hoops around that time. That was around 30 years into the NBA. We are 28 years into the WNBA, a very similar timeline. We watched the intersection of race and gender and just general, I keep saying this word, badassery from athletes come together in a moment that captivated hearts and minds, very similar to what happened 30 years prior for the NBA. We're not saying that we're going to become the NBA, but I am going to say is that we are at this special moment of confluence, a convergence where college is meeting the pros and people are seeing the game for what it is. And I think that will hopefully, fingers crossed, breed sustainability and also respect for everyone, every young girl that chooses to pick up a basketball.
That's really well said. And capitalizing on that, talk to me about what the WNBA marketing people and public relations people need to do to leverage this moment and this confluence that's coming, that I think you and I both feel so strongly. The star quality, the talent, the media attention from all kinds of new quarters that are surrounding the Caitlin Clarks and the Angel Reeses. The WNBA has lagged a little bit in marketing. What needs to happen now?
You are so polite, Sally. You are so polite. I know you've seen all over the internet.
Girls, we were raised scanners, proper training in the home.
I'm probably gonna get myself in a little bit of trouble. But I'm gonna say this with love. So please don't take my stuff out of context, Washington Post, because I love your publication and I don't want to get in trouble because I love the leadership that Kathy Engelbert has provided as commissioner of the WNBA. Adam Silver is truly an ally. So make sure you put that part in there if you ever put this out there. But to me, one special moment for the WNBA is the fact that outside of the outrageous revenue growth that we've been seeing the last few years, is that we were able to raise $75 million of investment to help boost the business of the WNBA. Now, at that time, a lot of us players were a little bit puzzled because we were wondering where that investment would go. Would it go to aiding player salaries? Would it be going to helping, travel situations, which we're still seeing people are questioning how our players travel, particularly those who have tremendous followings that might still be benefiting from the historic March Madness. We're talking about Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese and company, right? It wasn't like outwardly said to go there to anywhere near the players. It was said to go to the business of the WNBA to build the digital economies and infrastructures so that our business will be viable for the years to come. Okay. And Kathy, we trust. I got you, sis. But part of the digital transformation is the expectation that when it comes to preseason, that these games should be available for the fans that actually care to watch and carry over to the W. And I think we just witnessed over the weekend that we still have room to grow in that regard. Preseason games are typically always televised in some ways, whether locally or even nationally in some ways on the men's side. And I think there was huge interest. I mean, we're seeing some of the numbers from the preseason games. I think they said like 400,000 people watched somebody's cell phone video live streamed in Chicago, the Chicago Minnesota game. Just these inabilities to find ways for fans to engage with the game. I think considering that was told to be the key area in which this investment would go, had me going like, how we doing? How we doing? But I also say this, the marketing has truly done a 180. For a long time, the perception was that we had to have women's basketball be palatable for certain audiences, whether it is, kids or whether it is wholesome families, whatever the circumstance was, there was this idea that, women's basketball players should be like Disney princesses or like who you see after a Sunday or something like that. No, we are people that compete. We're people that want to destroy. We are people that want to be great and show what it looks like to be competitive and fierce in real time. And finally, I'm seeing the signs of the marketing represent that. The W did a tremendous job, creating these synergies from March Madness and the WNBA draft until now with the new commercials and the digital advertisements and those things. So I see the authenticity of who we are being represented. So at least there's that, but we still have plenty of ways to go, considering I was looking at, okay, if you're going to say it's going to go to the digital transformation, where's that digital transformation when you need to watch these games? Why are these same mistakes being happening with graphics and not knowing players and just some mistakes? But hey, it's preseason. That's when you're supposed to, get all the kinks out, right?
So let's talk about broadcasting. Let's talk about another platform. You became one of the youngest full-time WNBA analysts for ESPN. You've made history as the first Black woman and WNBA player to host a national radio show for ESPN. You've talked about occupying spaces that were not necessarily designed for you or designed for women. Talk to me a little bit about your motivation for entering the broadcast world, especially while you were still trying to play. And what has your experience been like trying to bridge that gap between men's and women's basketball coverage?
You know how Kobe Bryant says, different animal, same beast? That's how I sort of saw broadcasting. At some points my career has definitely been hampered on the court due to injury. And one of the benefits of being in Connecticut as a member of the Connecticut Sun is you're also in the backyard of ESPN. And I sort of took that athlete mentality and applied it to a different arena, to a different beast, and that was broadcasting. And I quickly realized that the same perceptions that are wrong that we dealt with as women's basketball players, those things can get perpetuated if you don't have someone different in the room. And so I started off, working odd jobs here and there for ESPN and also being a broadcaster for the Pac-12 network. And then I came back to ESPN and I was full-time at first under their international umbrella hosting SportsCenter Africa. And when I was doing that, I used to have basketball segments because that's my bread and butter. And those basketball segments internally at ESPN would go viral. And then on top of it would actually go viral because they posted those for the broader audience, not just the international audience. And then I think some executives, shout out to Dave Roberts, who's like the real MVP, and I also love Jimmy Pitaro. They're like, this woman is working her butt off, coming in at 6 a.m., hosting these shows for international and giving us great basketball content. Why don't we expand her portfolio to talk hoops overall, NBA, WNBA, women's college basketball? And that's how I became full-time. A lot more ghetto in between, by the way. Like I interviewed mascots for the Pac-12 network. Some of my shows were done out of the closet. And then I popped up on air as a SportsCenter full-time analyst in 2018. But I say all this to say it's a different beast because one thing I have truly loved, a lot of people get mad when people don't understand or value the women's game. But one thing I really loved is that, you can't have two crazy people in a fight. You can't have two angry people in a fight. You have to have someone that is level-headed, calm, and provides facts that cannot be irrefuted. And so I used to go on air and provide the facts. People did not know how to say my name. People questioned me for being a woman talking on all hoops. And people just probably maybe glanced over. And, and I always say this, one thing I learned during that time was that they see you before they hear you. They judge you before they know you. That was my reality. But sitting up there, I love the challenge. The same way someone says, you're going to miss that shot. I'm like, oh, I'm going to practice and then I'm going to make it and I'm going to stare you down afterward and then smile, go off in my day and smile, right? So for me, it was leading with facts. Any analysis that I have, I don't go with feelings. I go with facts because I know what's at stake as a woman, breaking barriers per se, sitting in a chair next to Hall of Famers where people question your voice and question your impact. And that has been another competitive arena that I have loved, not just uplifting the women's game the way we normally do, but also occupying spaces on the men's side. Because when I started, when I was playing, there were a lot of men's coaches and men's broadcasters. So I was like, why not have women up in here? Like, let's have a real party. And so to be able to have bosses that see value in that, and then also the ability to continue to have platforms to expand and grow. I have loved seeing how I'll walk around and now people say, oh, Chiney, you give Stephen A the business, you give Perk the business. And I am a fan. To me, that's the best way, I guess. Hey, maybe Washington Post will enjoy it. I'm not like very much let's go to war. I'm very much let's win with diplomacy. And I think I apply that in broadcasting.
It's a great place to leave the conversation. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but I've enjoyed it so much. We're going to have to leave it there. But Chiney Ogwumike, thank you for joining me today. You've been a fabulous guest, and I have a feeling you've earned a lot more fans. So I appreciate your presence here today.
I've been a huge fan of all that you do. You have paved the way for me to have a voice. And trust me, anything you want, you got. Like, we friends for life. And thank you, Washington Post. It's like a bucket list. I always love you guys.
That's mutual. That's mutual. And thanks to all of you for watching. For more of these important conversations, sign up for a Washington Post subscription. Get a free trial by visiting washingtonpost.com/live. I'm Sally Jenkins, and thank you for joining Washington Post Live.